So what do you think, like, can governments keep raising taxes instead of banning when they say like they just want people to stop smoking?
Right, so for the nanny state index. Right, so yeah, so we talked about this thing called the nanny state index, where governments are increasingly putting taxes on cigarettes and alcohol and all the quote unquote fun stuff. The reason I think that they won't ban it is because the same reason I've said for years, governments are going to want to use the back door whenever possible. So the United States gets this reputation, for example, for having citizenship-based taxation. And everyone says, oh, that's really crazy. And the US just says, listen, it's great to be king. We don't care. We're going to keep doing it. But I think other countries are afraid to do that because it just seems so blatant. And so for the same reason that I think countries will kind of dance around in terms of tax policies, they dance around in terms of not banning cigarettes. Banning cigarettes seems really draconian to people. Just constantly raising taxes. I lived in Arizona in the US, and it seemed like every year there was some ballot measure to raise taxes on cigarettes by like $1 a pack. And it's just that slow boiling the frog in the pot of water that maybe eventually they'll get around to where they can just ban it. But it seems so much easier and so much more clever to me that they'll just make it so undesirable by taxes. And then they can do like what every bureaucrat does. Oh, well, you're certainly free to smoke. We didn't tell you you can't smoke, right? They love to do that. By the way, this is why we were talking about how I'm kind of tired of staying in these hotels, because they do the same thing. Where it's like, oh, we absolutely didn't say that. We just smirked the entire time we told you. So why don't governments ban things? Because I think that they like the idea of saying that they're not banned. They ban them through the back door. And I think that that's how you'll see a lot of your freedoms and a lot of your money taken away in coming years, is by things being done through the back door. There may be some other countries who follow the US lead on citizenship-based taxation, but I think you're more likely to see is, well, you don't have to pay taxes here, but we're going to make sure you pay taxes somewhere else. And if you don't, then we'll charge you a minimum tax, because that's fair, right? They're never going to say, most countries are never going to say you have to pay taxes to us no matter where you live in the world. They'll just enforce, a light system, or they'll make it very difficult to leave their country. So, does that make sense? Yeah, I think that, I remember sitting on a plane in Turkey. I think I read about this in the book 7 years ago, next to a guy who worked for some bureaucracy. It might have been the UN. And we were talking about this. I was kind of playing coy. And he said, we like to do things one step at a time. We'll never tell you where we're going with something. We'll never tell you the end goal. We're just going to kind of feed it to you bit after bit. So, hey, we want to be here, and we're here right now. First objective's here. Okay. Oh, now we're here, and everyone loves that, and everyone feels comfortable. Okay, now we're going to go here. It's I suppose why in the United States, they started out with Obamacare because they felt that it was too unpalatable to just go to single-payer health care. But I do believe these bureaucrats would like to get there. I just don't know that they can ever make a political case for doing that. And so banning stuff seems really aggressive, taxing the hell out of it, or making it really difficult to leave. I think that's what they'll do.